Alright, welcome back to another multiplayer match. This is going to be a replay cast. We're playing as Khorne, and we are matched up against Nurgle on the Silver Spire. So, got a Herald of Khorne, 3 Chaos Warriors with halberds, and 4 Chaos Warriors with dual weapons. And so basically I just wanted to get a big blob on point 2 and have the halberds for anti-large, the dual weapons for anti-infantry, and see how that mix works. And the Lord we've got here, our Herald, is on, I forget what this thing is called, it's a blood shrine or juggernaut. I cannot honestly remember which one it is, but either way, our opponent is playing as Nurgle, and you can see both of us are coming in with fairly narrow builds. My opponent has a very narrow opener. He's got Kugath, Great Unclean One, Uncle Furuncle, which I guess is a regiment of renown, Great Unclean One, and a squad of Plague Bearers. So let's fast forward on the approach. We're going to send one squad of dual weapon warriors off to the left-hand side and get them to capture point 1, while the rest make their way towards the center. Now, off the bat, I saw their setup and was thinking, okay, I want to keep the dual weapon guys in the back, because there's basically no good engagement for them. Even if they get on top of the Plague Bearers, they're going to have all these single entities around there as well. So we've captured point 1. We're going to win the capture weight battle on point 2, because they have these single entities. I think infantry count for a good bit more than single entities. I don't remember exactly how the weight works for them, but either way, you see Kugath just scooting around. They got a Stream of Corruption off on these Chaos Warriors with halberds. I actually don't remember what the armor piercing is like on that. This guy brought a lot of spells. Looks like he's got a full thing. Where's Stream of Corruption? Am I missing something? The icons are so tiny, it's kind of hard to see. But either way, another Stream of Corruption going down here, and another one on these halberds. And you can see he's focusing on my anti-large guys because he's got such he's got a large roster. So we've got Marauder Horsemen coming over here, gonna get some throwing axes against these plague drones, and we got another squad coming over here. And right now I'm trying to see, okay, I want to get out more anti-large options, because that's basically all he has on the field. But what do I have in my back pocket? So I believe I had Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, I had Minotaurs with great weapons, and I cannot remember if I had anything else. I know I had some heavy cavalry in the form of the 2 regiments of renowned cavalry, and you're going to see them later in this match. But for now, I'm just trying to figure out, okay, the mobility is going to be good because I can kind of track these guys and stay away from these big boys. And the Minotaurs cannot attack air. So these guys, I don't want them just sitting there shooting at my lord or anything like that. And so he's sitting in the woods. And I'm basically just going to preserve him for now, because he wants to be fighting infantry, this type of unit. He wants to be fighting infantry, and he does not want to be matched up against these type of guys. And in fact, there we go. That's the other unit I forgot I brought, was the Skull Cannon. So I brought the Skull Cannon so I could have some kind of anti-single entity unit. And so I don't know if that's what this guy is supposed to be used for, but I know he's got a single shot cannon. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to focus on the Great Unclean One, try to shoot him down, and see what I can do about that, while the horsemen kind of duel it out with the plague drones. So you can see they're taking a beating. I'm not sure if he got any casts off on them, but you can see that the missiles from these guys are eviscerating the horsemen. So now we got the main engagement going on. Minotaurs coming on with great weapons. Them and the halberds are all fighting against the Great Unclean One and Uncle Furuncle. On the other side, Kugath is fighting some halberds by himself. Looks like he summoned some infested Nurglings. Speaking of, our opponent is capturing point 3 with a bunch of Nurglings. And so that's why I'm kind of moving the dual weapon units as I am. I want to keep them in areas where they can screen off the infantry that are coming to reinforce, but I don't want them getting into the mix against these guys unless it's against the Plague Bearers, which is what this squad is trying to do here. Outside of that, I really want to make sure that the halberds are the ones taking the engagements. I moved the Skull Cannon up closer so that you get better shots off of the Great Unclean One. My Lord charged in and is using the melee buff, I forget what it's called, Locust of Wrath gives plus 40 melee attack to anybody in the area. All allies in the area, I should say. So, Throwing Axemen are both pretty low on ammunition, but we did get those plague drones off the field. At least they're pushed back to here for now, so they're pretty low on ammunition as well. And so now we got Nurglings on the way, and the character blob are just, you know, fighting and sticking together. I think they have, I want to say one of these guys has a Mortis engine. I don't know these units too well. You see the Spirit Leash going off on the Minotaurs. I don't really have too many single entities that are going to be a good target for that, so I guess he was trying to get the threat off. And now I'm trying to run these guys away because all of a sudden I saw the Barons of the Bog coming out, and these guys do not want to be fighting against them. They're anti-infantry, they're armor piercing. These guys want to be fighting infantry, and these are large targets. So now we got the halberds coming to support them, trying to run the dual weapon guys on the other side, and the Throwing Axemen are now firing at the Great Unclean One, along with our Skull Cannon, who was kind of the first guy to go in and really start trying to focus on him. Chaos Warriors with dual weapons screening off the Nurglings over here. Nurglings, I believe they have splash damage, and so they do like to fight infantry, but these guys are armored. They're actually very heavily armored. Nurglings do not have good attack for that. So, actually, I don't know what their armor piercing value is. Yeah, they have very little armor piercing. I feel like a lot of units have around like 20 to 25% of their armor piercing, but yeah, they're going to struggle against these guys. And here we go with the regiments for now. Herald of Khorne's Fury. So these are Blood Crushers of Khorne. Armor piercing, anti-infantry, of course, magical attacks, flaming attacks. A lot of Khorne units have that. Pretty heavy armor, good speed, and no, maybe I shouldn't say good speed, but they're a cavalry unit, and I don't have a lot of those. So right now, our infantry are getting cleared out. This character blob is really causing a problem, and I've been focusing this guy with the skull cannon and halberds and stuff, and the Minotaurs with great weapons got in there, and he is still holding strong. Uncle Funkle hasn't been touched, and Kugath is chilling. I think he has a regen on him. I'm looking at his health. Maybe I'm thinking of his heal that he's got plenty abundant, but either way, plague drones are going to be doing good against the Chaos Warriors with dual weapons. Again, not a situation they want to be in here. And now we've got two cultists coming on. So both of these guys have armor, Sunder armor, which is going to do well against the type of units that I have right now. And now I'm trying to run away with the Herald because I do not want him getting jumped by a double cultist, especially with the armor sundering. Although this guy has 110, which is a lot more than he has on foot because he's on this mount, he wants to avoid that fight. And again, there's no really like isolated group of infantry that I can get him on top of. So I've been mostly using him to get the Locust of Wrath and buff up units in these blob fights, and that's kind of been their main thing. So Skull Cannon's going to come in here and just try to get in these guys' way and you know, disrupt their attack animations and whatnot. We've got the Herald of Khorne's Fury coming in, chasing after these plague drones, and I've mostly brought them because they had haste to chase these guys down while they were fighting in the melee. We've got Forsaken over here fighting against the Nurgle. The Forsaken are going to do really well against them. These guys are, I'm pretty sure they have some kind of anti-infantry thing for them. I don't know if it's just the way their stats are built, but I feel like I've seen the anti-infantry on the description of Forsaken before. But either way, they're damage dealers, and they don't need the armor piercing against these infested Nurglings, but these guys are dissipating, and not sure what that spell is going down from Kugath or Uncle Funkle, but it looks like it's a Blight Boil or whatever, so ouch. Big damage on the Chaos Warriors there. Over on the other side, this is the Great Unclean One. You see he recruit some more experience. I think he came out with 3 chevrons. Him and the Barons of the Bog are doing pretty good over here. And this is not a fight that I want the Heralds of Khorne's Fury to be in, really. Same thing. I mean, he's got a bunch of large targets, and all my guys I have over here are good against infantry. So that's why we brought another squad of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. And these guys are going to be focusing on that these large targets. So I started with the Barons of the Bog because they were pretty worn down. And they were going to be one of the bigger threats to the Chaos Warriors over here. We got halberds coming in support against all these these 4 different types of large units, and more Marauder Horsemen. I had a good couple stacks of Forsaken, and I forget what else in my back pocket, when I came into this match, but I was basically spamming all anti-large stuff because of how my opponent built his roster. So you're going to see a lot of reinforcements coming on in the form of horsemen with throwing axes, minotaurs with great weapons, halberds, which was part of my starting army, but I'm doing some unsummons of them and trying to get them back on the field. And you see Barons of the Bog are going down, they're unstable. Great Unclean One is taking some shots. The Furies are going to come and jump on top of the Marauder Horsemen, but I didn't run them back because I was like, well, these guys have anti-infantry, and the Furies are infantry size. They actually are going to deal a pretty good amount of damage here, but you'll see how this plays out. It's a close-ish match, given the value of the units. So infantry running over this way, trying to screen off. You can see we got the lead on victory points. So right now, I'm just trying to sit on this point and hold this the best I can. And he has an absolute tidal wave of infantry coming. You see 3 squads of Plague Bears, 2 squads of Nurglings, and yeah, basically capture weight is going to be a tough situation if you can get these guys moved around. Luckily, he had them blocked together, so I'm just trying to stop them and keep them clumped together with the Forsaken and the Chaos Warriors. Kugath, probably a lost cause at this point. You see he's still above half health. He's got a heal on him right now, and the Fecundity, I don't know, I guess that's the spell that he cast. Uncle Fruncle is still holding strong, but the good thing is that I have a squad of halberds on both of those guys. And now on this side, we've got the Marauder with Horsemen throwing at him. He's kind of stuck in between all the blob of halberd units, and so the throwing axes are having a good time. You see he's starting to dissipate. He's kind of separated from the rest of his forces, so he's isolated. And there we go, last little charge from the Herald, and he's going to be going off the field. So away with him. High value unit going off the field for my opponent. I see the value trading is pretty close, and my opponent has healing and I do not. He's also got more models in the field than me right now. So what I'm struggling with is, what do I do against Kugath, and how do I get these cultists off the field? So that's part of what the Minotaurs are coming on for. We're going to try to take them out with the Minotaurs. We've got Plague Bears coming over here, and now you see the capture weight situation is starting to go my opponent's way. So now I'm like, okay, do I commit and try to hold this as long as I can? Do I back off and go and sit on point 1 because he's in a triple cap situation? He probably should be setting some Nurglings out this way, but I mean, I guess I could use some of my mobility and try to jump this if I wanted to. Honestly, I wonder if Marauder Horsemen would be able to figure out Nurglings once they've used up their ammunition. But either way, they're going to sit here and they're going to fight against the Plague Bears. Again, they've got anti-infantry. They've got decent-ish combat stats for a unit that also has throwing axes. And so they're going to team up with the Herald with Khorne and try to take care of these Plague Bears. But look at this mass of infantry coming in here. And these guys are all just crashing into the backs of the remaining warriors and whatever else that I have over here. The Minotaurs are doing decent, and I've got them taking out Kugath. But they're also fighting against the cultists, and the cultists are starting to puncture their armor, which is making everybody else more effective against them. We've got more Marauders charging in, and they're instantly going to run away. I think this Kugath causes terror. I'm not even going to try to find the icon. He's got a million different things going on down there, but we got some infantry rallying, trying to get them back on the point. And at this point, this game is over. He doesn't have the pace. Nurgle does not have the pace on the field to get back here. So I'm going to fast forward to the end. But you can see I was like trying to kill him, Kugath that is. Most times I will not try to do that because he's got so much health and it's just hard to get him into bad engagements, in my experience. But you can see he's got, he was trying to get back here and stop me from winning on victory points. But I basically just started sending all my reinforcements down here. We got halberds fighting against the plague toads and the cultists and whatnot. And luckily I had enough responses to get back and hold this point, even though he knew what was going on. I guess he was paying decent attention to the victory point situation. So well played to my opponent. It was a pretty close match overall. Take a look at the value on the units. In hindsight, after I played this match, I started thinking, I probably should have brought some bloodletters or something, because although they would maybe waste some armor piercing, whereas the Chaos Warriors with dual weapons, they're maybe more cost effective in that sense that they're not using money on armor piercing value that they don't need against a unit like Plague Bears or whatever. But the Bloodletters also have magic attacks, which the Chaos Warriors do not. And Nurgle has a lot of demonic infantry, so the magical attacks basically negates the physical resistance that a lot of the demonic units have. So just a thought on that. Maybe something I'll play around with when I'm facing a faction with demonic units. But Herald didn't really do much. As soon as I saw my opponent's roster, I knew that I was basically just going to be trying to keep this guy alive and use him as a buffer in the sense of popping that Locus of Wrath ability, which gives a melee attack to allies in a radius around him. So the infantry actually did not do as much damage as I thought they would have, but they were all right. The halberds were pretty strong overall, so decent value on them. Knights of the Brazen Thorn, they came on way at the end there. Herald of Khorne's Fury got pretty good value. That's probably about how much they cost. I want to say they cost 1,600. Minotaurs with great weapons were clutch. These guys cost 1,300, so they were them being a resummon. They got a lot of value here. Skull Cannon did decent. I forget how much the Skull Cannon cost. I think it was 1,100 or something like that. But it was nice to actually see that thing get some value. I tend to have a bad time trying to get this guy to do some work. But he got a lot of shots off on the Great and Clean one, so that was nice. Forsaken, nothing special. Man, Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. These guys, yeah, these guys were studs. So nice to see that. They had a lot of big targets. Holy cow! So that is insane. 6,800 damage on Kugath. Does he have a Mortis engine on him? I forget. That like he's draining units around him. I forget how that works. I would imagine he must in order for him to get that much damage. There's no way he's doing single attacks on crowds of guys or single entities or whatever and accruing that much along with his spell casting. So pretty sure he has a Mortis engine that earned him that. Great and Clean ones. Neither one of them did stellar. I don't know how much they cost honestly. Plague Bears, nothing crazy. Plague Drones did decent. Cultists did alright. I don't know how much abilities and whatnot they brought on these guys and equipment, but they did alright. Barons of the Bog did decent. Plague Bears, Furies, and Nurglings, nothing special there. So anyways, thanks for watching. Well played to my opponent, and I will see you on the next one.